Welcome to Facts TV News, where everything is true. 17 people taken into custody for suspected breaches of anti-gang legislation. 17 people, including 6 women, were taken into police custody on suspicion for breaches of the anti-gang legislation in Bounty Hall, Trelawney on Friday. According to the police, the arrest followed a cordon and search operation which spanned several hours beginning at 4 a.m. in the community. A Smith & Wesson pistol was found beneath a zinc at the back of a large family yard, which was seized during the operation. In addition, several cellular phones and 2 tablets were seized pertinent to investigation into breaches of the Law Reform Fraudulent Transaction Special Provisions Act, the police said. The Jamaica Constabulary Force said it is firm in its stance to disrupt gangs, seize illegal firearms, and reduce violence. It further urged community members to report illegal activities to the police. Legal proceedings have prevented SERHA from releasing reports, says Morgan. There are conflicting reports about why the finding of an investigation into the alleged mistreatment of Shanik Armstrong at Spanish Town Hospital between May and June last year have not been made public. Minister without portfolio in the Office of the Prime Minister, Robert Morgan, who was responsible for information, said legal proceedings had put a stop order on the government's decision to make the report public, but chairman of the Southeast Regional Health Authority, Wentworth Charles, told reporters that the investigation was never completed because Armstrong refused to cooperate. However, he said recommendations on the way forward were made. Morgan, who had previously committed to making the report public, said any release of the report would have been highly inappropriate and maybe even prejudicial in the legal proceedings. He was responding to a question posed at Wednesday's post-cabinet press briefing at Jamaica House in St. Andrew when he commented, "Our approach as a government has always been to give the people the information, but we also have to be restrained by the legal processes that take place from time to time within the society," Morgan said. "Yes, it was my intention, but then a legal process kicked in, and we have to honor the integrity and authority of the legal process of the court." Last Thursday, Charles told personnel from reporting group that hospital attempted to interview Armstrong on several occasions, but she had been reluctant to speak. She said all communication with Spanish Town Hospital was to be done through her attorneys, Charles disclosed. He said the public defender Arlene Harrison Henry had written to SERHA on Armstrong's behalf and a meeting agreed or arranged. He said it is not clear what transpired after. Reporters were unable to reach Henry for comment on the matter on Wednesday. A statement released by SERHA, the statutory body responsible for the delivery of healthcare in the parish, and senior medical officer for the hospital, Dr. Jacqueline Wright James, said based on preliminary findings of the probe, clinical procedures were followed. Armstrong, who died last month after ailing for some time, had said she would not respond to hospital staff insisting that the results of the preliminary probe have painted her as a liar without even speaking to her. The 27-year-old woman's 24-week-old baby died after controversial circumstances at the hospital. Armstrong had insisted that she delivered her baby by herself in the waiting area of the Accident and Emergency Department. Former ward Isaiah Ashton grateful for a safe home. For Isaiah Ashton, the circumstances that led to him being released from a children's home in the Friends in Need state home in Manchester decades ago was not luck, but rather a blessing that later transformed his life. The German native, who came to Jamaica at a young age with his German mother, found himself in children's home years later after his mother fell ill and could no longer take care of him. Despite his current appreciation for the experiences that helped shape him, he said this turned out to be one of the most trying periods in his life. "It wasn't a great experience, to be honest. I was half white with dreadlock, and the kids used to mob me. I often felt alone. I got into a lot of fights. I didn't eat pork, but I was forced to eat it because I was told they weren't making any exceptions, so I had to eat what they gave me." His life was changed by Yvonne Towson, the owner of the Friends in Need Safe Home, who at the time also served as a police officer assigned to the children's court. Several children were entrusted into Towson's care by the then judge, It was at the court that Towson saw Ashton and decided she would also take him in. During the proceedings, I heard a child say, "Your Honor, if you send me back home, I'm going to kill myself." So I told the judge to give him to me. After that, I saw Isaiah, and something about him struck me. I knew he didn't belong where he was, and so I also took him, Towson reported. Ashton said Towson gladly accepted him and opened the doors of new opportunities for him to go in a space where he found comfort. She treated me like I was one of her own. She has a daughter and she treated us the same. She made sure I went to school. We didn't have much. She wasn't a rich person, but she did her best and she taught me a lot of things. The 36-year-old attributes his basic life skills and solid childhood to the parenting style of Towson, who he said made it her duty to provide a safe space, be a second mother, and sometimes the only mother for the children she took into her care. She was very important in my life. My mother was sick and she had always been sick, so I understood that she couldn't care for me. I stayed with Miss Towson for a few years, and her daughter and I grew up like brother and sister. Towson shared that Ashton was a brilliant child who was able to pass his common entrance exam to earn a place at the Manchester High School. He was very smart. He would stick out his hand for a handshake when he met people and introduced himself. He even used to call into the Multi Perkins radio show. I remember one day he said to me that he had the potential to become a gunman, but because of what I taught him, he knew better. After spending 13 years in Jamaica, Ashton was assisted by Towson to reconnect with his older brother and other relatives back in Germany, where he currently lives. She wanted him to have a better life, and she knew his talent and intelligence would be better served in a country that could provide even more resources for his success. When I went back to Germany, it was difficult because it was a new chapter for me. I couldn't speak the language, so I had to learn it fast and get to know new friends and the country. But over the years, everything turned out good. Ashton was able to go back to school and complete his studies, said he formerly worked as an apprentice but now his solid placement in the automobile industry. Despite adverse circumstances he endured growing up, he has no regrets. "I am glad Miss Towson came into my life. If she didn't, I don't know what would have happened. I thank God every day that she came into my life." It is important to have people like this in the world because people need help and good people, and we have somebody who is looking out for us and is willing to take on the task even when they don't have much. Ashton said with the highlight of his life being the birth of his daughter, he will continue to instill in her the values he was taught while at the safe home and seek to inspire those who may be in similar situation. "My encouragement to children who are in the position I was in is don't give up hope, believe in fate. When you do good, good will follow you," he said. Spur Tree Hill Nightmare. A Manchester council and the parish fire chief are appealing to the National Works Agency (NWA) to consider installing escape lanes for out-of-control trucks on the crash-prone Spur Tree Hill Main Road. However, NWA Communications Manager Stephen Shaw said there is no plan to build escape lanes on the current configuration of the main road. With the road as currently aligned, there are no plans for any such facility. However, there are plans to shift alignment as part of the new road under the Southern Coastal Improvement Program, Shaw reported on Thursday. The Southern Coastal Highway is projected to connect St. Thomas to the east, Clarendon and Manchester in central Jamaica, and eventually points west and north including St. Elizabeth and Montego Bay. There are no timelines for completion of the entire project, although Shaw said the plan is taking shape. Regarding the eventual route, he said conversation is still taking place. Nothing is cased in concrete. The crucial Spur Tree Main Road links Mandeville and its environment to St. Elizabeth and points west. Heavily laden, slow-moving trucks often hinder traffic on the steep, difficult hill, and there have been a number of fatal crashes involving trucks down the years. Road safety experts say inexperienced drivers, overweight, and defective vehicles are among the main causes for mishap on the Spur Tree Hill Main Road. Speaking at Thursday's monthly meeting of the Manchester Municipal Corporation, Councillor Jones Oliphant, People's National Party Mandeville Division, said an escape lane would help to save lives on the road. There is a section where there it seems as if trucks always run off the road. I am wondering if a special run-off area should be implemented so that if brakes or anything fail a driver, they can go in the lane rather than go down those three corners where those accidents happen, he said. His suggestion was supported by Jamaica Fire Brigade Deputy Superintendent Ron Powell, who noted the existence of escape lanes on the Edward Seoga Highway. They really serve a valuable purpose, and maybe it is something that the National Works Agency can look into to see how and in what areas we could create them, said Powell. He added that the Jamaica Fire Brigade has been an increase in calls resulting from oil and sand spill on Spur 3 Main Road and the Melrose Bypass, which is also in Manchester. Overladen trucks are creating a nightmare. They, the drivers, seem to be servicing their units on the roadway and just leaking out all the aisle, posing a serious challenge to other motorists, and we're seeing an increase in the number of accidents, he said. Councillor MacArthur Collins, People's National Party New Green Division, agreed with Powell. Collins called on the police to clamp down on truckers parking at undesignated spots on the roadway. Some of the trucks, they park anywhere. 3, 4, 5 trucks are parked in some area, and I would like to see the support of the police in these areas. Lots of motorists are just escaping accidents, he said. I would like to see the police have more checks on these areas before we have any accidents, he added. Please remember to subscribe, like, share, and click the notification bell for daily updates.